Hey,
we're going.
Hey, we're on. Here we are.
I'm
Welcome.
gonna go take a piss, but whatever.
No, you're not going anywhere.
45 to 55
our new
minutes.
our new guest is already trying to get out of this, but he's not going to.
It's because he's afraid what this could turn
Creeps
into.
and creatures.
I am being held against my will.
Creeps and creatures, welcome back to episode 5 of Way Too Spooky.
We made it. Episode 5.
We're here.
All five
That's
of
2 below the Howling 7, the 7th sequel.
Exactly.
It's really good.
I am your
We're getting there.
I'm your host, Connor.
The quality has not dipped one bit.
Co-host Chris. How you doing, Chris?
Good. Connor, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Super fan Brad is back. Hey, Brad.
Back at it.
Yeah, and Karim, welcome to the podcast of Way Too Spooky. Thanks for coming. You're not going anywhere. Don't even try. Okay?
I feel like I'm trapped in a bar in Mexico.
Yes, which leads us into our movie.
Don't you dare say that.
We have Karim and Brad on because this is a special movie, near and dear to our heart. A classic for sure. From Dusk, we've watched it so many times. It's From Dusk Till Dawn.
The Robert Rodriguez film, everyone probably thinks is a Quentin Tarantino film, but it's
Right.
actually
It's both.
Robert Rodriguez directed it, right?
Well, that's a good question. I used to be on the assumption that it was half directed by Quentin Tarantino,
Yeah.
and then the back half was directed by
Yeah.
Roger. So that is true.
So my understanding of the movie is that Quentin Tarantino wrote it,
Yeah.
and he wrote it as though it was to look like a Quentin Tarantino film the first half.
Right.
And then
A lot
he
of
gave-
dialogue.
And then he gave Robert Rodriguez the creative control to make the second half. So it's as though you're walking into a movie store, which don't exist anymore, but a Blockbuster, a West Coast Video, or a mom and pop shop, right? And you walk in, it's like you're going to the action section,
Right.
And you're going
A
to
thriller.
the horror section,
The
and
adult
combine them both.
section.
So
That-
it is essentially two known directors now that have made this movie, and it's pretty awesome.
And I've talked to other people who've watched this movie, and this would be like pre-internet. That's how I was baptized in this movie. I was actually watching it like it was a good thriller.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is like a heist movie. It was interesting. And then, boy, did it take a turn.
There
The second half of the movie, which I don't know if that makes it better in the long
There
run.
are no
but like they totally fucked up this movie in a sense that it's a horror movie now because that's why we're talking about it.
And there's a lot to
It's an
unpack.
awesome horror movie.
It's great. I still love it. I love this movie.
Holds up real well.
And there's a lot to unpack here. This is why we
Sure.
invited two of our guests.
Experts,
One, Brad, the expert creeper monster. Or he's the creeper monster.
I'm not a
expert.
creeper,
Yeah.
but yeah, I got.
and Karim we have on because there's a very famous strip club in this movie called the Titty Twister. And
frequents a
I
lot.
think he's been to like every single strip club from here to Maine. Anywhere really. So that's
your favorite?
that's the only reason
Have
why
you ever
we've
been
had
to the
him
Titty
on.
Twister?
No,
got nothing.
no comment. I got nothing. I got nothing for you. I'm
That's
trying
a hard
to.
yes. That's a hard
I lost
yes.
count. I was lost in my count.
Oh, he said which Titty Twister? That's
Well, they got everything there. They got smelly pussies, they get pussy. And if anybody who's seen this movie knows exactly what we're talking about. But let's get
Cheech
right
Marin.
into it. Chris, you have some facts about this
Yeah,
movie.
let's just do the quick facts real quick on the movie. Give me one moment as I try to pull this up. But the movie is From Dusk Till Dawn. It had a budget of $19 million, which, if my understanding, if I read this correctly, which I didn't know this until a few years later, but one of the few movies that employed a non-union production crew, which was very rare for a budget of that size, and so they
Yeah.
got a lot of I guess bad feedback from that. They shouldn't
Right.
have done that, but it was one of the few movies with a budget like that would employ it.
It depends on where it was filmed, too. I don't know where.
It was filmed in Barstow, California.
California.
Was it really?
In the desert.
Wow. They
So
played-
$19 million budget.
we know another movie filmed in Barstow.
And we'll get to
There's a
that
lot of
one day.
connection to that, isn't there?
Made a box office almost about $60 million, so it did pretty well, and I think it spawned 2 sequels and a television show, right?
Now, would you
Yeah.
say this is a cult classic?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say
Absolutely.
so, definitely.
Yeah.
really
I don't know
like
if it
this
got
movie.
classified as one, but to us it is.
I mean, you don't make a series off of a movie that nobody would watch. They
Yeah.
literally years later went back and made the what are they, the Gecko Brothers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
They
second
made
the
a-
second one that stars the T-1000, was it Robert Patrick? That one sucks too.
It's a bank heist.
Oddly enough, Danny Trejo's back in it, but he dies in the first one.
Well, Danny Trejo just appears.
Yeah.
I think he sets a record
He's
for just
like
appearing in
the
so many
standard.
of these movies.
He's just like your average run-of-the-mill, like benchmark vampire, I guess, because he's like in every one, I think.
And the character he plays in this movie is, I think it's like his real background. He was like,
He worked. Wasn't he a bouncer?
he was in jail. He literally lived that lifestyle for so long, and then he just got a bunch of these different roles in there. But
When you say lifestyle, do you mean vampirism?
yes, in case you didn't know, this is a vampire movie, which caught me by surprise too.
Now, Kareem,
Anybody who was watching was kind of like, "Oh, this is a vampire movie."
Kareem, are you into vampirism?
Vampirism.
Well, you must be into vampirism. You frequented the Titty
Kareem, don't worry. We're gonna get to the actual Titty Twister part where we can just talk about the strip club.
So let me just go over the cast real quick.
He's a little mic shy right now.
The cast of the movie is he's just saving up. He's got a lot of information towards the tail end.
Because once he starts, he doesn't
doesn't
up
stop. Yeah, we're not going to get any
about this
word.
movie.
But
we literally can't let him.
so the movie
go
stars
there. Good point.
Harvey Keitel,
He's
George-
chained. He's chained to the
George Clooney,
George Clooney.
Juliette Lewis, Quentin Tarantino,
Right.
Salma Hayek. I mean, there's a lot of actors and actresses in this.
Did George Clooney, was he Batman yet before this?
No, this is his first movie. He
was only in ER, right?
If I understand it correctly, this was his first movie. He got really into ER. He became
Yeah.
he was like the '90s McDreamy or McSteamy.
That show was so fake.
Yeah.
They were like
and then
in
he
the middle
got
of
into
surgery,
this.
no caps
Can you
everywhere.
imagine? Like so I just said $19 million to make this movie. There's no way you're making this movie in today's day and age with George Clooney on your cast. That guy demands like $50 million per movie.
Yeah.
So this was before he was big.
Because I was going to say, I don't think you go from Batman, which his Batman sucked.
Well, real
to
quick,
this
let me
movie.
just round it out. There's Tom Savini, who's Sex Machine, one of my favorite characters.
Oh, top notch.
Fred Williamson, who's Frost. He's
He's the Vietnam vet.
He's the Vietnam vet. He's amazing too. Cheech Marin's in like 3 different roles in this movie, which is pretty awesome.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so I think I went through mainly. Oh, then Ernest Lewis, Scott Fuller. He's the token Asian boy in this movie. He's just the adopted son. He's a good character though. I like him.
He goes well. I like the way.
Did you say Julia Lewis?
Did I say Julia? Maybe?
Yeah, because she looked fantastic in this. In all honesty,
She doesn't age in a way.
I think
it's
that's when
really
Brad
odd.
Pitt dated her, right? That was her claim to fame. I have not seen any movies since this.
I don't recall seeing that on the front of my mom's People magazine in 1996, but
So let's get into it.
You
right?
love
So
that
Kareem,
stuff.
what do you remember
Good
about this movie? You
housekeeping.
watched it recently. What do you?
Guys, I've made a deal with my captors. They said if I did this podcast, they'd let me go.
You ain't going nowhere unless you start talking. You understand me? We didn't invite you on this and to have you just sit here in silence. You understand me?
you know what? Why don't we take a step back then? Kareem, why don't you give us your thoughts on the movie?
Did you think it was a good? Wait, there's a
I
rating.
haven't studied your
turns.
rating scale.
All right,
yet. I know
good,
We
good,
do
good
that at the
idea.
end. We do it at the end, right?
We do.
Yeah,
No,
we do it at the end.
we're gonna there's a Spookless, which was a dud. There was Not Spooky, which
Good
it
for
had
the
an
listeners.
element of a spooky.
Not too spooky. I should say.
Excuse me, not too spooky. Then there was Spooky. It was good. It's getting there. Then way too spooky. But before we rate that, did you think this was a good movie?
I just want to say my rating can be bought.
It
Okay?
can.
My rating can be
And
bought.
we
I'm throwing it out there.
plan.
Did you
to
like
do
this
that.
movie? Do you think it's a good movie? Would you recommend it to your listeners?
If my listener is my father-in-law, no.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Are you worried about him?
Yeah. What about the creeps and creatures out there listening right now? Kareem?
No, honestly, this movie, like Chris said, is pretty nostalgic. I remember basically every day after high school watching the best part of the movie, which is literally 50% through the movie.
Yeah.
And how ridiculous that scene is.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about what it would, like this film is kind of grabbing 2 movies from different aisles of a video store, aka a double feature.
Which is genius.
It's like a Grindhouse. Another one of Tarantino's. Like,
But this is the surprise of what happens in this movie, if you've never heard it, is ridiculous.
Yeah.
can I ask you, like, just while
That's
we're
a good way to
comparing, while we're
describe
comparing
that.
twists, do you think it's on the same level or more of a twist than M. Night Shyamalan classic The Happening?
Jesus.
Plants kill people.
I think
R.I.P. M. Night.
I think when you I think when you meant to say a twist on something, you're about the Titty Twister, which
Oh.
is the.
Do we want to get into the
club.
Titty Twister?
Yeah. So anybody who's watched
I
this
guess
movie,
that is my expertise.
Well, wait. Let me just start off. Let me just state something that with the first 45 minutes of the movie,
good.
again, very Quentin Tarantino-esque. It's
awesome.
actually a really good
Yeah,
movie.
it's really
like I
good.
want to know more.
Yeah.
And Yet I've tried to think past the 45 minutes that I've watched and say, like, well, how would I finish this movie if it wasn't a vampire movie?
Yeah.
And I have absolutely no idea.
Oh, no,
This movie can't end any other way than through being a vampire movie at the very end.
So, long story short, Harvey Keitel, he's a former preacher. He's in an RV with his two kids. They're just, I don't know where they're going, but George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino kind of hijacked their RV. They hold them hostage. It's violent. It's a very, now that you know Quentin Tarantino's all about, very weird, very well done. Quentin Tarantino's a fucking creep in this movie. He is, and I don't know, like, he plays himself into these roles that, like, is he this creep? Is he so weird?
He's got to be somewhat of a creep to write these roles for himself.
I love his voice.
He is, but he's so weird.
Come over here and sit on the bed.
The relationship between him and his brother George Clooney in this movie, who's the one who's got his head on straight.
Hey Richie, would you do me a favor and eat my pussy?
Well, that's the thing. So Quentin Tarantino is an absolute psychopath in this movie, and George Clooney is just a professional thief. But it's so weird to watch.
Handsome.
Richie's a sex offender and
nobody
participates in armed robbery.
Nobody you want to root for, but somehow they end up on the same team at the end when they're trying to fight off all the vampires.
Well, they're brothers. I mean,
yeah. But even the family they kidnapped, Harvey Keitel and the two kids, creepy. You're rooting for Harvey Keitel the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh wow, I hope they make it to Mexico. I hope they make it to Mexico, drop them off, and they uphold their end of the deal, where they just let them go. Mm. But then they go into this awesome establishment that I'd probably go into called the Titty Twister.
Absolutely. Which we'll get just in just a moment.
We actually couldn't go in there, but there's a reason.
What strikes me as so odd about this bar is that it's so inviting to the common man of the 90s, right?
Yeah.
It's a strip club.
A lot of neon.
With, beautiful women. Don't get me wrong. They're beautiful strippers, and everyone has one thing in common in this movie is that they're all just kind of pigs. They're there, but you think that if they're a vampire bar, that eventually they'd run out of people that want to come to this bar. Like, don't they think that there's, hey, 100 people went missing last night and they all went to this one bar? Don't people talk? Like, why would people continue to go back?
No, I think they added that context, and it's like people go missing in Mexico all the time.
Exactly.
Here they are.
Yeah, this is in America.
I have to agree with you. The bar is completely packed.
It's packed.
Mobbed.
And it's great when they walk in. Oh man, I love it. George Clooney's face. This is my kind of bar.
And I have to agree with you.
And there's that fight. The guy's like punching the guy out, and he's just the face he looks. He's like,
the dancers are tens.
They are. Yeah.
This is a main Vegas strip bar right here.
Yeah,
this is just planned in Mexico.
Yeah. We would totally end up at the Titty Twister without a doubt. Even when they turned, I'd probably come back like the next day or something.
Yeah, I consider it with Salma.
I'm like, that place was a lot lot of fun. I'm like, I think I'm going to go back.
I consider Salma Hayek.
It was a Wednesday.
Non-vampire
This
Salma
must
Hayek.
be the
She's
D-list.
a 10.
Yes.
Vampire Salma Hayek. She's an 8.
Selma Hayek was a smoke show in this movie, and she was kind of like the portrait, right? She was like the vampire to come out, and she was the first human to turn into a vampire, and like her body was perfect. This was like what, 96? It was like vintage Selma Hayek, and I don't know when the hell.
Beautiful woman.
She was, and then
but when
she turned into the ugliest
beautiful woman.
She turned into the She turned into the ugliest vampire of all.
She turned into the equivalent of the Cleveland Brown uniforms.
Yeah.
Awesome uniform. Terrible helmet.
But you know what?
So do you guys know? So do you guys know she's actually has a fear of snakes?
Yeah, I read that.
You told me that.
So she comes down in this scene. She's the top showgirl of the night. So I think Cheech introduces her. You see her silhouette. And as she comes out, she has this 11-foot yellow python.
I think they call him banana. Banana snake.
It has a name?
It's a yellow snake.
Wait, you say the snake's name is banana?
Kareem, we didn't have time to get our snake expert on the podcast as well.
So Selma,
he was booked tonight.
So Selma comes down. She's got this python around her neck, and apparently she is deathly afraid of snakes. So when she was reading the script, Quentin Tarantino was like, I'm in. I like this role, and Tarantino's like, oh, by the way, you have an 11-foot python around your neck. So apparently she worked with some type of psychologist or therapist to kind of use hypnosis and kind of like get out of her body just to be able to have that thing wrapped around her neck. And if you watch it, the thing is curling around its neck, ready to
gross.
So I read that, and she kind of looks like she's in a different place.
And she takes it and kind of unhinges it from her neck.
Are
And
we
it just
still
adds
talking about a snake?
Well, there's something to be said about that.
it just makes the scene 100%. Listen,
It
if you've
was.
never seen the movie, this is the scene that makes it a double feature.
And
Basically.
It's the turn.
And who knows if this is true, but Quentin Tarantino apparently has a foot fetish, and he wrote in the scene where she's like pouring down the tequila down her leg, and she puts his foot.
a good scene.
Dude, he does another scene with feet
Yeah,
too.
so
I have a question.
I think he's
though.
a weirdo.
I have a weird question. To ask
I'm
you.
not judging him on
If-
his fetish, but he plays these roles that he
that's his
likes.
character.
You're,
I've heard it.
You're a hitman. You're not married. All right. You have no kids. You're a hitman, and you're at the Titty Twister, and a vampire that looks like that. You don't know it's a vampire. She comes and she pours tequila down her leg like that, and puts your foot in your mouth.
Yeah, Selma Hayek, of course.
Yeah.
Dude, Selma
do you mean,
Hayek.
of course?
Dude, the moment she turns into a vampire, I would just put a bag over her head and be like, keep doing your thing, girl. Like, I would let her even give me she was so hot and her face was so ugly when she turned into a vampire. I would just put the bag over her and you hear her hissing, right? I'm like, that's all right. Just shut the fuck up.
It's a little bit.
And keep dancing.
Well, first off, if everyone's not realized this, but the first 45 minutes, we're not going to really discuss this movie. It's a good movie.
It's a great caper.
It's a
Some
great-
people die.
It's good, but
It's actually pretty. No, it's really good.
It is, but the meat and the potatoes of this movie are
the second half.
Is the second half.
It's on the back nine of this movie.
This
for
is like
sure.
a side. This is like one of those little starter salads you get.
Yeah.
In the beginning
Absolutely.
for what comes at the end.
Yeah, it's like a T-bone steak, right?
T-bone, or I was thinking prime rib.
But Salma
Nice and
Hayek, when there's a
juicy.
point when she's stepping on George Clooney, and she's like, "You're going to be my footstool." If I was him, I would be like, "Yeah, okay, go ahead, do whatever the hell you need to do."
But you
Yeah.
you are also a gimp, so
I am a camp. That's true.
But that's when all this chaos breaks out and they all turn into vampires. You're introduced to probably one of the two greatest characters of all time,
of all time.
which is Fred Williamson, which is the ex-Vietnam vet, right?
Yep.
And
I think they call him Frost in that.
Frost, he's the man. And then there's the guy. You find out later his name's Sex Machine,
Yeah.
right? And that's the. I remember just cracking up so hard when when shit broke out. I don't even think shit broke out yet. Somebody tried to grab his beer and he had like a revolving cock gun that just shot out.
It actually makes no sense. The barrels aren't even attached to the I guess where the bullets
They
are.
exist.
That exists.
That exists.
Well, I want one.
So
Do
Brad
any
did,
of my creeps and
Let's
creatures.
Brad did his research on this, and if you've definitely seen this movie, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Go out and buy a cock gun for yourself.
Yeah, but it's got the chambers look like where the balls would be.
I say,
And
you guys
then like
do
the
a
barrel of
giveaway.
the gun just comes out.
We're gonna do a cock gun
I
giveaway.
literally have one note written about this contraption, and my question is,
Look.
how the fuck does Sex Machine control his crotch gun? He is proficient with
Well, I think
He kills the
He's probably
dude.
got great abs.
Well,
It's probably
wait,
all
let me-
core.
let me-
No-handed.
He just contracts.
I think I can hit.
Are you, is he
like
using?
Connor's abs. You seen these things?
Is he using his Kegel muscles?
That's
Well,
a great question.
And that's why I think we got to point into the fact that this is Tom Savini, right? This guy, if anyone in common horror can do it,
Yeah.
it's Tom Savini. That guy deserves to have a cock gun.
Dude, he did Day of the Dead.
I didn't know what a big
he's
deal
done
he
a
was.
lot of movies.
Dude, Dawn of the Dead, that movie scared me. We should
He's
do
done the
that
Friday the 13th series. I'm sure. I don't know if he was the special effects person for this movie specifically.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he had a hand in a lot of it. At least his vampire version of himself. I mean, it was like a rat of some sort, but it's
What he becomes?
yeah.
It was awesome.
I mean,
like
the
the
guy-
special effects were fantastic.
Yeah,
I
these aren't
will
like
say
pretty
that.
vampires who just get like
know what?
long teeth.
Makeup was
they turn
on
into like
point.
beasts.
For that year
It's
it
on
came
point.
out. The makeup
Yeah.
was on point.
And I started thinking about, you know what else I think about with this film? Like, and I was thinking about like really a fair amount today is like when I stop and I think of vampire films, and I think of like really good ones, like John Carpenter's Vampires, awesome movie.
Yeah.
Blade, I love Blade, I really do. But this is like one of the immediate top three that comes to mind.
Absolutely.
From Dusk Till Dawn is and Connor, I think you hit it earlier, like nail on the head. The movie starts off in one way, and it's the twist that absolutely kicks the
It
scene.
was the Titty Twister twist.
It's crazy. It just becomes such a different film, and I think that that's what's so enjoyable about this because, like, you're so invested in these characters by the time they get there. when they start getting eaten, you actually don't give a shit, but
Like, you do care for
But
them.
there's a few characters.
Right.
Harvey Keitel's character.
But in the
I wanted
moment,
to see him go
but
for
in
it.
the moment when the first time you watch this movie, did it did it piss you off? Like, what the fuck is this? So, I was enjoying this movie.
kind of.
Imagine you're like
when
on a first date and
Yeah.
you could buy one ticket to Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
And you're watching a movie with your girlfriend. You're like, I'm going to get a thing of popcorn and take a piss.
Then you come back.
You come back
And
and,
all-
there's just
she's a vampire.
absolute chaos. And
Yeah.
there's
She's a vampire.
Yeah, and then it's not like, what? And it's like, what the hell happened to this movie? So, do you think this movie, in the long run, was better in the fact that it took that turn? Because we would not be talking about it now. It would just have been a good movie.
I think this is jarring.
It is. It's just, I think there's such a, you've invested 45 minutes already. Most movies that I turn off, I've watched for 5-6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You're like, this is crap.
I'm not turning a movie off after 45 minutes that I think is actually pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just turns into a vampire movie. Yeah, the last 45 minutes, I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
There was a point in high school where we literally were just rewinding that scene to watch the transition.
We used to watch one of our
every
friends'
day, just
basements.
cracking up.
One of our friends' basements, I think Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights were just, or like we scheduled out, like, did you do your homework? Great.
And
okay, let's go watch Dust
And the magic behind
We
this
did watch it a lot.
is there's this great Mexican band that has not stopped playing the entire time. And when all the vampires were like starting to turn, somehow, some way, they must have been great engineers.
In a matter of 20 seconds.
They
mind
turned a few of the, I guess, the people who were drinking
The victims.
the victims, into actual musical instruments.
So is it the
So-
victims? I don't know if it is.
It happens
already
real-
have that.
Yeah, but it
It
happens.
they
quick.
don't
it
show
happened
you.
so quick.
It happens so.
So I
don't
even marked it 1 hour and 2 minutes and 38 seconds.
Which is so upsetting
We-
because...
which is how much I care about this fucking
Wait,
scene.
because they put
This is
so
in his
much,
thesis.
They put
when he
so
got his
much
master's.
they put so much effort into creating a legitimate
Wait,
body band.
Because if you guys noticed, once the second half of the movie, the band is one of like the main characters. They
They
keep
show 'em,
going
like, 4
back to the
times.
fucking band to the point where like I know how the corpse guitar is
They're the
framed.
They're
So-
the most violent
So
vampires.
there's
of all.
there's a leg.
They're kamikaze zombies.
There's a leg shoved up into the torso.
yes, and
And
what's at
there's
the
a
bottom?
head, there's a head
Yes,
shaking at the
yes.
end, and they've used like strings and ligaments to make like the cord, like that. And somehow, I don't know how you even tune a vein or an artery or whatever to even
But it
make
sounds
noise.
good.
But it's like I was like, oh my god! But so when you're watching this movie, it's good. Mayhem breaks out. You're like, oh, a corpse band, a corpse guitar.
Yeah, the most
Like, what the
shocking
fuck is
thing
this?
was he was on his 3rd fret playing C sharp.
No, it's It's like
it's insane.
it sound like it's legit music playing out of the speakers with human body parts. I mean,
They
it's-
just, no pun intended, they did not skip a beat or a chord. They
You think
just
I could
kept
get one
going.
of those at like the Guitar Center?
I hope so.
I'd play
And-
that.
At least a Spirit Halloween.
No, you mentioned.
Ooh, yeah.
No, to
Hey,
you.
Spirit, come out with that.
Spirit Halloween, come out with a corpse guitar.
You
No.
you would totally buy that
No,
that
got
prop.
wall space.
You
I
would
got
definitely
wall
buy a
Brad,
corpse guitar.
And you wouldn't be upset by that, would you?
Brad, you mentioned like this is in your personal top vampire movie.
Oh, it definitely
Now, there are some vampire experts out there. Please give us some feedback. Is it a thing for vampires just to self-combust if they don't want to live anymore?
Well, that's
Because he says like, fuck you, everybody, good night. And it explodes. Because they didn't
Can
even
you
put up a
self-destruct?
fight.
Is that part of is that
Can
canon?
vampires do that?
Is that vampire
'Cause
canon?
they do keep up with the crossworks, right?
He's a kamikaze zombie.
They literally tell you
The stake
everything
through the
goes-
heart works, and they were going through this all together. Like, what
Garlic.
kills them?
You know what also got me
Sunlight.
laughing
But they can
too
just- I didn't
of
know
all
they could
this
just
is
make
that
themselves explode.
Someone wrote this.
They got hard
Quentin
bodies.
Tarantino wrote this entire what we're talking about, and it's all over the place, and that's like in a good way. But Quentin Tarantino wrote all of this.
Wasn't he like a
Doesn't surprise
video
me now.
store clerk?
Yeah, I think so.
I started Wikipediaing him, and then I was like, "This is a waste of time."
Yeah, this has got him. This got him like he got to quit his.
But
job.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, he was like a video store
And
clerk.
he
And he had a couple. He had a strip. What the fuck is his famous?
Did you say he had a
movie?
strip club?
early
How'd you
on?
know that? Oh,
The
no.
Titty Twister.
The
He
Titty
keep-
Twister.
This is why we have him on, because he keeps going back to the Titty Twister. Have you
He's
noticed that?
keeping us on
He
track.
loves to twist titties. It's crazy.
Was it usual? What's that? Usual Suspect or
No, Reservoir.
Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah.
I think the script to that got him going.
Well, it did. Yeah, it did. Absolutely.
But
he was.
this
still,
is
he's-
probably the film that really set him apart.
What do you think?
in
What do you
Hollywood.
think he? What do you think he thinks of this film today?
Well, here's the my
Loves it.
was this a horror movie for him? But you said that was not his idea at all. So he actually has horror under a genre because no other movie he did after this was like a horror movie, was it?
The first half is very Tarantino-esque.
So, all right, so we
Great
talk about
story.
everyone, they pretty much the vampires go because Richie's the is Quentin Tarantino, if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Richie.
He gets earlier on in the beginning. Again, we're not talking about a lot of this because just watch it; it's good.
Yeah.
He gets shot in the hand, and his hand gets stabbed by Cheech, or Cheech's like sidekick, the real big
Monkey Man.
Yeah.
monkey man, right?
The one that Fred Williamson just punched right through the chest and
Takes
punched
his heart out.
Heart, yeah.
And so
Love it.
Salma Hayek, she
What a badass scene.
sees the blood. She starts to suck on it. Chaos ensues. Hundreds of men are just killed, slaughtered.
Bats come in.
And oddly enough,
Went to the wolves.
somehow George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, Julia Lewis,
They become experts.
they all become extra
They literally have a conversation about it.
sex machine.
All these vampires turned so quick, and then Harvey Keitel was the former preacher. So he pulled him aside. No, they're gonna turn within the hour.
I think he says, I probably have a good 23 minutes. How the hell does he know 23 minutes?
You can feel it coursing through his
Does he
veins.
have an internal clock that's
It
telling
does.
him he's got-
And what was
Is that part of vampire lore too?
And what was so funny was the way his son was killed. You remember? I guess they have superhuman strength. They can just rip humans apart.
Kill me,
But
Cake.
he's like, kill me, Cake.
She shoots him with a revolver and he explodes.
Doesn't he explode?
I mean, you're forgetting that
He just
he
was getting ripped
killed.
apart. They exploded. Did he kill them all?
He kills his dad first.
Dude, my favorite though was him running around. He's got a squirt gun filled with his holy water. His dad
That thing's
finds God
badass.
halfway through.
Oh,
Wait, so-
Danny Trejo as a vampire just whips that guy.
Was that a super soaker?
It was a super soaker.
can't
And
come in there.
condoms filled with holy
Oh
water.
yeah. Actually, that brings me to a question because there's a. I mean, we're gonna go back and forth in this
condoms?
episode. But if you were in behind that closed door and you had 23 minutes like Harvey Keitel so soon,
Yeah.
you had to open up all of those supplies. Which weapon would you have taken if you were which character?
I don't know, because if you looked in the Super Soaker box, there's a good 30 or 40 Super Soakers. Fill all those motherfuckers.
George
up with some
Clooney
water.
had definitely the worst.
Couldn't agree with you
Yeah,
more.
I agree.
Dumbest weapon of the movie. Like it's.
How do you wield that thing?
He definitely would have died.
I like how he's like whipping it around. He's like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da."
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's badass, but I think
Honestly, the minister's weapon
Yeah,
is
the
pretty
cross.
sick.
the cross shotgun?
The cross shotgun.
Totally cool.
You can't go wrong with
yeah, but
that.
if you run out of ammo, but the cross keeps them away.
Yeah, it yields them off.
Yeah, it's like you have an infinite force field.
I think
Yeah.
this,
The ammo's an issue, though.
Yo, what if they found a hose and wait, how did they fill the, first off, okay, let's back up. How did they fill the condoms? Did they have like a hose
They
or
had
something?
like a hose.
Well,
They
the
show that scene.
But
He
they
was a
couldn't-
preacher. He blessed them.
You're right, but
Yeah, that's the
wouldn't
best.
he just be standing right next to it while it's like
I would have
spraying
just
out a
doused
hose?
myself.
He
in
was an
water
ordained
somehow.
minister.
Like, I just would have been wet.
You bless my water.
Well, he was an ordained minister, which
I am an ordained minister now.
That's
So
Bless my water.
Congratulations.
Brad is an ordained minister.
that's holy water now.
Nice.
Yep.
So we could kill vampires.
I'm a vampire.
We could kill vampires, right? Is that possible now? Because of your powers?
I can't give up all my secrets.
That's crazy that Brad has these powers.
All right, so after
Wait, this is good. So what's the other weapon? There's the super soaker,
There's
the
the crossbow.
condoms, crossbow,
Julia
the
Lewis is-
jagger
Oh, a
thingy.
jackhammer with a edge
No,
of a table.
Yeah, Chris.
It's perfectly fit.
Is there another one?
Super soaker, the shotgun.
That's it.
No, that's it.
Or you could just be Fred Williamson and he just throws the vampires onto the bottom of a table.
No, he just tears his heart out. He just punches his heart out.
I mean, the guy has the best
I like
kills.
what he goes.
He definitely does.
And he throws him a one.
All
two,
in all-
3, 4. The fourth one, he's like,
Actually, I have a
Awesome
question for
characters.
you guys. Who did it better? The heart rip. Our dude, whatever his
Fred
name
Williamson.
is,
Sam Frost.
or Jim Carrey.
Oh, Fred Williamson because he put a pencil in it at the end.
That's a good. I
Yeah.
love that answer.
Yeah.
Anything you got to say to me?
He's like
Say
still
him
alive
first.
on the
You
ground,
gotta say to them.
and they're
Say
figuring
him
out like,
first.
wait, the heart
I
is
like-
connected. They're like, and then isn't it Tom Savini? He's just like,
I like how he goes. I like how he goes into his Nom story, and like the
And
fingers are like the vampires crawling on.
one of the
him.
best
like,
monologues.
My favorite is what he
Or-
says
or
right
child.
before though.
He starts like telling him like
He's
I killed
telling us
him
he's like, and to this
and
day,
then
I still.
Tom Savini changed.
Yeah.
He turned into a werewolf.
He bit me.
Yeah, but
Bomb.
phenomenal.
He goes, the bomb went off right beside me. That's why I'm so pretty.
And this guy smokes cigars the whole time. And if I could explain this movie, if help me, like the first half, this is really intense. The second half, I was laughing my fucking balls off.
Yeah,
that's true.
I was
That's
fucking
true.
laughing.
That's
I was
true.
thinking.
I was
amazing.
actually cracking up because
That's a
it
well-
wasn't like I wasn't upset. I was kind of like, but I knew other people were upset. But for me personally, it's always been my dream to like you make a masterpiece and then you just totally fuck it up.
Yeah,
And then you're like,
right.
yeah, let's just make this garbage.
Wait, so I thought
But it
about
was so
Connor.
funny the way it was done on the second half.
So I thought about this last night, and I'll never forget. And I hope if anyone has millions of dollars out there and can make this film, make it happen. But you always set this scene up where you create this beautiful drama.
yes,
There's a scene at the end of the movie, maybe a wife and a husband linking together, hugging in a field, crying. They haven't seen each other in so long.
yeah,
And suddenly,
Nicholas Sparks.
the husband looks at her
yeah,
and says, "Honey, my planet needs me."
exactly. And he just disappears.
And just
Wait, there's
Like,
no context up to that point?
No.
No.
So, like, imagine Gladiator. Remember what a great movie Gladiator
Yeah.
was?
Oh, yeah.
And, like, it was so good. Like, what if Russell Crowe, like, right before the end scene, was kind of like, my planet now needs me, and then he just, like, shoots
Shit.
off into space.
This is so
and everyone's like,
fucked
what
up.
the fuck? Everyone's kind of like...
the return line at the fucking
You'd
Regal
have
would be like, I just need my money back. I
You'd
can't
have
comprehend
so many
that movie.
upset people because, like, I was all in on that movie.
Oh my
Well,
god!
Look, I need
I
closure.
still am
I
all,
need-
yeah, and
I
you're
need
like,
to-
wait, why would you just ruin... It's almost like they ruined this movie for their own
Is
amusement.
there a sequel? Like, I just don't.
If Andy Kaufman created a movie, it'd be like, let's make it really, really good, but then let's just trash it.
They're,
on the
they're trying to
second half.
critically analyze the movie.
Because
at-
I want to
at-
laugh. And that's what it was.
Yeah.
But to me, I thought this was the best
You're a
explanation of that
sick.
movie.
You're a sick SOB.
Yeah, but we would not be talking about that movie if it was just a good heist movie now. And it was like, oh, this is a horror movie now.
true.
Well, and I think that's what they did.
So
I
would
think,
you ever
know,
go back to the Titty Twister?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you definitely
it
go back?
rebuilds.
I would go back. It seemed to me, for some reason, I felt like were they not planning on attacking people that night if it hadn't been for Quentin Tarantino's
And the blood.
hand?
No,
Well-
it turns into that every single night.
Yeah, that was
Well,
the,
no, hold on. So at
Vampires
the
feed
end,
maybe that was the
every
night
night.
they needed ones.
I was talking to Brad about this earlier, but like that last scene when it zooms out, what the fuck was that? I didn't really.
Oh,
understand.
it's like a whole temple of vampires.
It looks like an Aztec.
yeah, that's
Exactly.
that's
Temple.
exactly the point.
That's exactly the point.
Well, you can't have a second or third installment if there wasn't like.
I think
They
the
literally
idea
were
behind...
just-
They were
They were
setting up a
just
sequel.
Sacrificing
You ever hear that?
everyone
that
that was
most
going into
people
that
didn't
bar.
watch.
What do
Yeah,
they
that was
call
very
that? Like,
easy to understand.
You ever see that image or like that what is it, the poster with like the ice
An iceberg, Chris?
an iceberg? Yeah, thank you.
There you go.
Jeez, an iceberg, and you only
Twin
see
brains.
you only see the tip of the iceberg.
You talking about Titanic?
Well, no, it's just a general in most things.
He's asking you. So
like the internet,
you only
the dark
see a
web.
part
You
of.
know,
You only see a portion of.
a portion of the iceberg.
Yeah, meme like success, and then underneath it's like
Correct.
all the
Drama.
things that make up success.
I think that's supposed to be a visual interpretation of that. Like everybody wants to go to the Titty Twister, but they don't realize what's underneath all that crap. You know, all those vampires.
Chris, that was fucking deep, dude.
deep,
I know,
dude.
right?
Chris usually does a deep dive.
That's
into
deep.
something
That's
about
deep.
this.
I do
man.
that stuff.
But I'm just gonna keep it surface level.
very mature, unlike the three of you.
Mature.
All right, if I had to say anything,
mature.
if I had to say,
I mean, at first I thought they were just birds.
It's not birds.
Oh yeah, this movie's got some lines in it.
oh,
Great characters though. It's one of those things where like, honestly, each character has like such like an over the top personality.
Who was your
So-
favorite?
oh,
Who would you say was your favorite character?
I mean, over the top. The Asian kid didn't have an over the top purpose.
No, he was.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
go tell the cops.
dude, his kill scene was great. He got ripped apart.
Actually, I didn't see that coming the first time around.
This kill scene was so fucking
Oh, Harvey
dramatic.
Keitel though. Harvey
It was
Keitel.
Sex,
so good.
Sex Machine and Fred Williamson were born
Just
for this
so
role.
good. You're
I
right.
think
I still love him.
I gotta
watching
say,
it
I
now.
don't think George Clooney. I think
he
he's a
was
great
awesome.
actor. I do. I don't think he would be where he is today
without this.
without this movie.
Wow, yeah.
This is
My
actually
because I think this put him on the. He's a.
You
he's
put him in a
good-
Tarantino film.
He's a good actor.
Yeah,
he was
And
awesome. In
You
this.
actually like as bad of a guy as he is.
Yeah.
Because he's not supposed
Yeah,
to.
he
be
becomes team. Okay, they're not vampires.
He's. It's like look, like I wouldn't hang out with you guys on our normal day.
Yeah.
But like I'm here to hunt vampires.
So didn't Brad? Didn't you say there were some other A-list actors that were interested in this role or were approached?
Yeah. You had like Steve Buscemi. You had
Like John Travolta.
John Travolta. There was a huge.
And so these dudes passed. And honestly, I think I'm like, dude, Steve Buscemi in that role,
Would have been perfect.
it would be fucking
can see him
killer. Wouldn't that be hilarious?
oh, him as the Gecko brother.
Yeah,
he would have
yeah.
been awesome.
Let's
Yeah,
go kill some
yeah.
vampires.
But I gotta say,
Or like I could see Travolta doing that
I could
too.
have.
Like,
You owe me a sausage McMuffin.
Like, I'm not like, oh, I love this George Clooney. I'm like, I love this George Clooney movie. This is the most memorable George Clooney movie for me because it was the best role he's ever been in.
Oh yeah,
It was
He's great. I like. He's a badass.
Yo, this list.
And I like one of the things he says in the movie. He says it twice, I think. He promises.
This my kind of party?
You have my word. He said, if you listen to everything I say, you will make it out alive. You have my word. And he actually is wrong both times.
Exactly.
He is. Neither one of the time, like the woman,
Yeah.
the woman that they first capture that's in the trunk,
Yeah.
and Quentin Tarantino, which is the creepiest part of the movie with him. He's like, you want to come over here and watch TV on the bed with me?
Sit on my bed with me.
He's like, come on, and he taps the bedroll like as if he's like a real nice guy, and then he gets back.
A bloodbath.
It's an absolute bloodbath.
It keeps flashing back.
He's flashing, and he's Richie. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
He's like, this is not how it's done. This is not how I'm a
He has a
professional
code.
thief.
He has a
This is
code.
not how it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a sicko, and he actually
Yeah.
wrote that for himself. He's going to be that character. That's
Yeah.
kinda-
Oh my
I mean, there's something wrong with Quentin Tarantino in a way. I'm not to knock the guy.
Yeah, he
but
makes great movies.
To
but
think of that is
Yeah.
That's
it's
what he
different
wanted
kind
his
of sick.
character to be.
Yeah.
Well, there's so much levels of like, the professional thief. Oh, he's like a sexual assault dude.
Sexual
And then,
assault
but,
thief.
But then they all kind of mold together when they realize there's vampires. Oh, it could be worse. You could be one of those.
Well, wouldn't you
Yeah,
get
yeah.
together with
That's
the
what it is,
survivors?
yeah.
I'll
They
tell you,
team
if the three
together
of
at
you guys
the
turned
end.
vampires,
You know-
I'd kill you all three.
it's actually a really
It would definitely
interesting
happen.
question. Not to get too political, but if aliens, like just from the pandemic, it was like a really good social experiment to see like if we can come together for anything. But excuse me, I'm burping. If aliens came down and like fucking took over,
Yeah.
would we able to ban? Do you think all Americans would come together and band against? Wouldn't I feel like there would be like, well, we don't fight those type of aliens. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you know, actually, you said it was political. Actually, presidents have said that before. Actually, Reagan said that. I've just heard this on a random quote. It's kind of like, well, yeah, if shit really did hit the fan. I mean, you saw it in the movie Independence Day. You'd hope we'd all kind of come together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the pandemic makes you think otherwise, right? I mean,
No, but like, dude, I like not to bring this.
Vampires
up,
don't wear masks, though. That's
Like,
the problem.
we just passed the holiday of 9/11.
what's that
Everybody came
line?
together after that thing.
Something like that.
What's that line?
that.
don't have this
You know what they say about me?
I suck.
I suck.
So,
Cheech Marin.
all in
Oh,
all,
that was him too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his third character.
I would say,
This motherfucker broke my hand.
all in all, this is a great movie. But we do. Are we at the rating scale yet? Are we even doing that?
Not quite yet.
I didn't think so. I'm glad because there's so much to
lot to
still
still
unpack with
unpack.
this movie.
Yeah.
So,
I would say though, with back to my question, who your favorite character was in this
Yeah.
movie? I would say, like,
Character you liked?
no, I just favorite. Like, if you had to be in that situation of all the survivors at the very end, who would you be?
George Clooney. He gets away with all the money. He's still, hey, come on. You go with George Clooney.
well, the Titty
I'm a
Twister
survivor-
ended up in flames
Yeah.
as they're going away, just like the first scene of the movie. Remember that liquor store?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of ended the same way.
Yep.
And that's a vintage.
You know,
They
actually,
actually had to rebuild that.
Yeah.
the titty
I
twister?
think it
Yeah.
went up in
A bunch of
flames.
bats rebuilt it. That's what they did. They all flew together.
Yeah, he's
They
right,
rebuilt
actually.
it. Yeah.
That's a lot of teamwork. That's so many bats.
Bats work. They have sonar. They just
They do.
communicate well.
That's so many bats to rebuild a huge bar. Like
know what's crazy?
as
So,
big
like-
as the Titty Twister.
guys,
No, they were vampires at night.
Now-
The
They worked
the
24
constructors
hours.
come out, they all got hard hats on.
Are they minions?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we gotta go. Hey, Tom, pass me a beer.
Now, outside of horror, Brad is one of the biggest superhero, especially Batman
do.
fans I've ever met. You're the one who told me that George Clooney, because all the bats in that movie, inspired him to be the next Batman. Is that true? You told me that, right?
Yeah,
He was just high one night.
I want to
fucking with
quote.
you.
I want to quote you on that
horrible.
to say that's what got him. The,
Batman and Robin. That's a horror movie.
George Clooney was the worst Batman I've ever seen. Val Kilmer was pretty bad.
He had,
but
like-
George Clooney was
he had,
a
like, the
bad
nipples
Batman.
and the
Yeah, they had like the hard nipples.
yeah, gets
He needs to be at the Titty Twister. Batman.
Hi everyone, welcome to episode 6, Batman and Robin.
Yeah, we're just gonna mold right into the next George Clooney Batman.
Subscribers just nosedive.
So actually, one thing that I did learn about this movie is that Quentin Tarantino wrote this movie to be in the same universe as the rest of his movies that he wrote. Yeah. Which is pretty neat. So I think at the time, the only thing he had under his belt was Reservoir Dogs, but future movies were meant to. I don't know. I don't remember.
They all
kind of.
I don't remember the name of the burger place that George Clooney goes to.
Tasty Burger.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mind if I have some of this tasty burger? No, it's some of this tasty drink to wash it down.
Is that Samuel L. Jackson?
You a smart motherfucker. That's right.
Oh, okay.
We got a little Family Guy there.
That's right.
But that sounded like that. Oh, okay. Never mind. Two different movies.
Samuel L. The Capital One guy, right? Everyone knows him just from Capital One. And
I'm pretty sure they know him from a
lot more than Capital One. Are you saying I know Samuel Jackson from Capital One?
He's talking about Pulp Fiction.
Well, what other movies is he in?
Samuel Jackson?
I'm just kidding with you guys. Shut up.
He's in Pulp Fiction.
Snakes on a Plane.
Well, we know who your first sponsor is.
Paul Rudd?
Capital One.
Oh, Capital One.
Paul Rudd's the man. They rejected us. Capital One.
Yeah, they've been dropped by some of the major networks. We've been dropped
by some of the big credit cards recently.
Yeah,
what's going on.
The Big Five, as we call them in the
It's because of there's a lot of controversy surrounding our spooky meter.
Yeah.
And our grading.
It's patent pending. We got a lot of lawyers on this. A lot of suits and ties.
A lot of suits and ties.
It's stressful. It's stressful.
You probably would have known this if you'd watched episode 1 through 4, but you probably didn't.
We really hit it on episode 3. Like that's where I really learned about the legal ramifications if
the mumbo jumbo.
The jargon. Yeah. I concur.
So the movie has a 61% on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think? Do you think that's accurate? What do you give it? I don't know what that really means. I think it's positive.
It depends on who wanted to watch this movie.
But what would you give it, not knowing that?
I would say I would put in like the 70% based off my own personal. I was entertained the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was entertaining the entire time.
This really held up well.
It just entertained me for two different reasons. Is what it was.
Yeah. I agree. Connor said 70. I would say 69.
You need to grow up, dude.
Smelly pussy, stinky pussy, hairy pussy.
He actually
chicken pussy.
Chicken pussy.
No, he is working so hard to get people into that bar.
There's like comics in New York City who try to get people to come in. Like that's who you want out there, just trying to sell pussy. But it's funny. Apparently, Danny Trejo as the bartender says this is catered to like trucks and truck drivers. Like,
yeah, no, I have that.
I think they're just gonna come in regardless anyway. You don't need to say every type of pussy that's in there.
Only truck driver, like they're holding some type of code.
I can see one right now. It goes.
They have morals.
Did he say chicken pussy?
That's I thought about that. Yeah, Danny Trejo's like, you can't come in here. It's like, wait a minute, you're trying to feed on people's blood.
These are patrons.
Don't you want them here? Like every customer.
Only truck driver blood? I agree.
It's the best. It's fatty. It's got.
I love how the minister reasons with Danny Trejo.
You're correct. There were holes in this that they never quite really explained. I think maybe we would have to watch number 2 or 3.
So I think we've given away a lot, but there's a lot to unpack. So it's like I think.
No, you got to see it for yourself.
The best way to put it, I don't even want to give away the ending as to who survives. Yeah. I just want to say it's like we've said it. I think throughout it, but it's just watch it. I'd say watch it end to end. Like you just the last 45 minutes actually need the first 45 minutes, I think, to be a good movie because you get to know who the characters are.
Sure.
And in a way care about them, even though you don't truly care. It's like I don't want to see Juliette Lewis die. I don't want to see her Asian brother die. I don't want to see Harvey Keitel die.
Yeah.
Kind of want to see George Clooney die, but
he becomes team human.
But he's good. So I don't want to see any of these guys die. And so it's in that
weren't
regard,
you saying you like sent me a cry emoji after you watched the movie?
Are you getting emotional?
Well, I just like.
I get it. I like Chris. It's because we're brothers, and there's brothers in that movie.
That's right.
Yeah,
he was an ugly vampire, though, wasn't he?
But George
he looked like
I like how George Clooney was very comforted.
Yeah.
If Quentin Tarantino goes, put in your retainer. Oh, I got your glasses for you. He still really takes good care of them.
Me. That's Chris and I are going to be like that in, I don't know, 30 years.
So which of you would be Richie and which of you would be Seth?
So Seth is George Clooney?
Yes.
I'm definitely Seth.
I'm Seth.
No, Chris is definitely tall and creepy.
Interesting. No one wants to be Richie the sex offender.
Speaking of which, though, Karim, do you want to come over there and sit on the bed with me?
Yeah, the little pat. It's like such a nice creep.
He's such a creep.
And the next scene is just her brains splatted on the hotel wall.
He said, "Where's the hostage? She's in the room."
If I had to be one character in this whole movie, it would be the Asian son.
Yes.
You look like him.
He just.
So the first time we see he's on the bed in the hotel room, just nicely strumming on. Which you play the guitar a little bit. He's strumming on the guitar.
Not really, but sure.
George Clooney and or Richie and Seth, they come in and you see they hold the gun in
his mouth.
In his mouth. It's just so traumatic.
That was wild, right?
And I had this reaction. Actually, I wrote it down. Like when that happened. So like George Clooney is telling the minister, like, you better not fucking go anywhere. And then like, Richie just has the gun in this little kid's mouth, and I just started cracking up on my couch, like late at night watching this. And I don't know about you guys, but you talked about it a little bit in the Terrifier episode. But do you ever feel like it's just horror is like too much to deal with emotionally, and you just laugh? Like, why is that? Why do we just laugh?
No, this movie was so over the top, man. It was like
Yeah, but you
there
gotta
was
think,
so much blood.
Well, think of it. Like, if there was a vampire, if vampires started to take over, right?
If they existed,
Do you truly believe they're going to be like that? Was it Edward from Twilight? No. I would rather, if vampires are going to try and take over, honestly, I'd rather be Dusk Till Dawn style. Just pure chaos. It's kind of fun.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm going Blade style.
It's like it's just so chaotic. You're like scared, but you don't know how to actually. The reaction is just to crack the fuck up.
And if I'm dying at a place like the Titty Twister.
Well, and that's the thing.
Or the clubhouse. That's the
probably
closest
gonna die
thing.
there
It'll be the
anyway.
Wait, what
clubhouse.
did you just say your funeral arrangements were?
Just the clubhouse. Bar and Grill, which they haven't dropped as a
Wait.
sponsor yet.
Yeah,
Think about.
if anybody doesn't,
they
if
have the
nobody
best
realized
wings.
this,
The best
They do.
wings.
the Clubhouse Bar and Grill also has a giant temple attached to the back of it, just like.
They don't tell people that.
Oh.
It's kind of just flies under the radar, Brad.
My bad.
Connor has like a will stashed in his basement in a little security box, and it says,
Well,
"Upon
I
my death, just throw me on a pool
guess the
table
way I look
at
at-
the clubhouse."
Guess what? The way I look at death is
And a
this.
coupon for
We're
free
all
pizza
gonna-
for life.
We're all gonna die, right?
Yeah.
Most of us want to die I want to live to 100. But if you're gonna die the most, like, all right, there's bad ways to die, right? There are. There's sucky ways to, you die of car accident.
We don't need to go into tragic ways you can die.
Yeah, we understand.
You could be killed by a vampire.
But my point being is, like, wouldn't you want to just say at the end of the day, like, oh, yeah, what happened to Karim? Oh, you didn't hear? He was massively killed by a vampire in the Titty Twister bar. You what? I want to know more about that.
It makes me think, what's the coolest death in this movie? That's a good question.
The best death.
Death.
Yeah, it's
I actually have.
There's some good kills in this movie.
I'll go last.
The best death in this.
The rat death is pretty good.
Which one's that?
The one where Tom Savini's head gets ripped off with the whip, and he becomes the rat. And then she shoots him
I
twice.
thought it was a werewolf.
No, the best death is.
Oh, he's a giant
I
rat.
thought it was a werewolf.
The best
All right, we'll
death.
talk about
The
it.
best death is Fred Williamson when they shove the shotgun through his.
Oh, best death.
Yes.
Yep.
And then they pump.
He's
his body to
still
pump
still
it.
killing people.
I have to agree.
That's great.
That was a great scene.
All right. So what? So
What's
Connor?
yours?
yeah. What do you think is that's?
Well, I guess it was on the first half of the movie. I liked not the cop in the very beginning when they just came from behind and just shot him. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice
That-
clean
that's
execution.
I was like,
I like a clean kill.
Yeah, 'cause it
No
was a nice
blood.
clean
This
kill.
no
episode-
emotion.
this episode's over.
As he
Thank
just
you for listening to Waiting
motions
Spooky.
executing someone.
We've been canceled.
Yes. No, I love just the chaotic scene. I like when Fred Williamson just threw 4 vampires onto the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the final one splattered, and he was like appalled by it. He was like, ooh.
yeah.
That was pretty good.
Kareem, what is your favorite death?
That turned me on a little bit. I agree with Connor. My favorite death is from the first half of the movie.
Jesus.
It's the clerk at
Oh,
the
that's-
store
That's a good one.
Ooh.
that the cop
yeah.
is talking to.
He was on
gets
fire.
fucking Molotov cocktail with a paper towel roll.
No, kicks
falls
the
into the alcohol, burns alive, gets up, tries to make a run for it, falls into the popcorn stand and starts popping fucking popcorn.
Well, you mentioned that. I didn't know what you were
That is
talking
an
about.
that's
how
an
they-
amazing
yeah.
scene.
That's a good one. I like that, and that really gets you into the movie because you don't have any idea that's coming. Even.
Have you ever seen someone die making popping their own popcorn?
I've
with
never seen any
other
idea.
skin roasts.
Yes. You asked.
So what do you? All right. So we're gonna go back over the scale, right? The spooky meter. So we're gonna say let's rate it in 2 different ways, right? Let's rate the first half of the movie. 1 through 4.
And then do we make an average?
I need to piss.
So the first half of the movie, first 45 minutes of the movie, would you say it's not spookless, not too spooky, spooky, or way too spooky?
We're doing a double feature here, so it's
You
two
have to.
films.
Is that,
You
yeah.
kind of have to actually.
I'll go
Yo,
over
man,
the
are you
rating
all right?
again.
He's
That's like
twitching.
so. I need to take a piss really bad.
You're gonna
Wait, so
wait.
go over the rating scale.
He's trying to get out of this.
So
Chris.
all
Don't
right,
let
the
him.
worst is spookless. It means it has
Five.
there's no spookiness to it.
No spookiness.
Let's just be honest with it. The first 45 minutes are spookless, just really
It's
good.
not
though.
a scary movie.
It's
the first half.
really good.
Oh, I disagree. I think it is a little spooky.
All right. Well, we don't care about that. You're a Titty Twister, user.
So I don't get to comment. I don't get to measure the first half of the movie.
Yeah, but you think it's spooky?
I don't know the
right.
scale.
All right. Spookless is the worst.
And you call yourself a super
and
fan.
it sucks. And spookless, there's no element.
I've listened to 3 or 4 episodes.
Spookless, there's no element of anything being
All right.
scary, and
Okay.
in the movie
And their
itself
fear,
sucks.
Okay.
There's
Not too spooky. It's
not-
25% spooky.
Okay.
And there's not too spooky, which has maybe a moment, which kind of catches you
Okay,
off guard.
okay.
And maybe it's kind of entertainment. And then there's spooky, which is okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for its time it could have been,
Yeah.
and it's good.
I'm giving that.
And then there's very spooky, which is
I'm
very
giving the
hard
first
to hit.
half not too spooky. I'm giving the second half spooky.
Okay.
Wow, that's even generous in of itself.
Yeah.
But Chris,
I
go
would
for
I
it.
would say the first half is spookless.
Yep.
Not in a bad way.
No.
I'm not giving it a bad.
Because it
spookless.
wasn't a
It's
horror
good.
movie.
It
wasn't a horror movie.
It's a good spookless movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
I'll be back.
second.
I'll be back.
Well, we've lost. He's going to the Titty Twister again.
This guy, we can't keep him out of any strip club at all.
Did somebody grab
Hey,
his
listen,
ones?
listen,
He's a sicko.
listen. Creeps and creatures. This guy talks about the Titty Twister way too much.
He talks about the Titty Twister more than Brad talks about the
I
Jeepers
know.
Creepers monster.
Well, I think we should just let him go upstairs and just
Guys,
watch that scene
guys,
again.
Oh, he's not coming
My
back. He's stuck.
stuff
is
last
it.
week was just shtick.
You know how gamblers?
Guys, that was just
you know how
shtick.
gamblers go in for hours.
Yes, that's
He's-
him.
He's done. He says he'll be back in a minute. He'll be back in never.
Yeah, by the way,
Exactly.
if you have a gambling problem, please dial 1-800-GAMBLER.
That's right.
No, but anyway, I think he put it in his input. I'm just gonna say this as a movie as a whole. It was not spooky, very entertaining. You need to watch it because it does fall into the horror category.
Yeah.
To me, it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
Watch it. You're never gonna be
You're gonna
scared.
laugh.
If you're like a vampire enthusiast and like this is
purist?
not, yeah, it does not like check the boxes for everything you want, then it's not for you. But I'm gonna say it's entertaining.
Listen,
it was not bad.
Yeah, if you like some over the top, like it's over the top. Let's just not over the top with Sylvester Stallone because that would just be epic. But this movie is over the top,
Yeah.
and it's fun. It's not one of those where you're sitting there and be like, I gotta shut this off. It's like, no, I want to see what's gonna happen next because the last thing I thought was so ridiculous, it might be outdone, and it does. It does get
I'd say
first
it's
half spookless,
spookless. Second half,
not too spooky.
not too spooky.
No,
just
it's cool.
Almost spooky, but it's cool. It's
becomes
totally
like an
watching.
action
It's
movie
a
slash horror
cult.
movie.
Definitely a cult. I would watch. I can watch
Yeah.
it over and over again. It holds up. It's like a fine liquor, like a tequila, like they drink.
We like to pair our movies with a certain drink. And this is definitely a tequila Mexico type of vibe.
Yeah.
The whole movie.
The way that George Clooney, I'm not a big hard liquor guy,
Right.
but the
But-
way that he downs tequila or bourbon or
It
anything,
was whiskey and then tequila.
it's like
at
it's
some point.
something with his attitude,
Terramana? What
his
is that?
This is the
anger
rocks.
towards life, and everything going on in the movie towards the second half.
Yeah.
Like, I would need a hard drink like that guy too.
So
It
Brad,
has an
Brad
effect similar
recommended
to like
tequila.
Mad Men. These movies do a good job of getting you to just. It's that vice, like Mad Men. You just want to like smoke a cigarette and have a.
You're
thing
gonna
like this.
die soon.
Same with this movie.
It makes you want to go to a strip club.
Well, I mean, what would? I mean, I'm not gonna. We're not gonna get too much into it. Like, what would you do if you just found out you're about to die from vampires? Like, you'd probably want to take a few shots too, right? And then carve with a jackhammer and a piece of like a table leg.
I would have done the exact same
I would have
thing.
the same
Dude, I'd
exact
have a
thing.
drink of tequila.
I'd live stream.
Brad, tell us what tequila you have.
I'm drinking The Rock's favorite Terramana tequila.
Is that his tequila?
This is his tequila.
Nice.
I haven't had that yet.
Terramana.
Although he doesn't come to my mind at all. I'd
Watch the
probably think more like
XFL,
Jose
drink
Cuervo,
Zoa, and
but-
Terramana.
The Rock is so happy. Even there's like, there's
Yeah,
no,
they
no
should
one's
remake
that
Dust Till-
positive in life.
I hope they remake Dust Till Dawn. and
You
put
also
The
just
Rock
see
in
him
it.
on social media. You know?
Yeah, he's got to have his bad days. I want to see his bad days.
Yeah. He needs to start posting videos of him not working out and just like a bad moment
Right.
I want to see him like just
shut the
taking
fuck up.
taking a big shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, or him being bothered when he's just like trying to be on the toilet. I'm doing a video here. Would you stop banging on the door?
Right. Daddy's trying
To
to
his
poop.
kids. So, all right, we're not gonna just. It's just tequila. Give me the dirtiest, nasty tequila. That's what you're gonna pair with this movie. My personal opinion. This is not
With
a
a
scary
dead
movie.
bug in it.
It's not a scary movie.
No,
It's entertaining. It's
This
a
is
vampire
something
movie.
polished because in the end you still get that little bite.
So it's not
That's
spooky.
what- this
but it
one's
was
good.
Anyways, we would
You need to
all
watch it.
definitely recommend this movie. It's from '96, but it holds up to this day.
Hell
I mean,
yeah.
it's one of those you could watch it annually. If this was on Fear Fest every year, I'd make sure
Absolutely.
take PTO from my day to watch this movie.
Yeah, great movie. Not scary, but very entertaining.
So
That's the
this
best I
is
could
way
say
too
about it.
spooky. Creeps and Creatures. Thank you so much. Episode 5. We have Kareem. We have Brad.
Yeah.
Connor and myself. Thank you so much.
And here's some hard tequila
To
for
the
this
best
movie.
90-minute movie ever, Walking Tall.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Goodbye.
Bye bye.